Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is February the 16th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Today was we had an interesting to our day, and then it really just chilled out after that. I guess pun intended, no pun intended. I don't know. We'll get to it. But yeah, I woke up. Well, I guess I can start with last night. What did we do last night? And we'll just kind of flow through. Last night, since I really wasn't feeling the greatest, I could tell the weather really wasn't improving that much. It was just rainy and gross, soggy. I just knew it wasn't going to be good for me and my little throat. And my throat is doing a bit better, but yeah, we move. So I was just like, okay, let's just hang out. Let's just hang out. I got some things I need to do. Let me shave my head and, just chillax, relax, and, play some games, do my thing. So that was good. We did food corner. Let's do that while we're here. I made, yet again, Korean fried chicken. We doubled down back to back. But difference, instead of rice, we did some noodles. And I had the bulldog noodles. Also, it's BB Go. That's the name of the brand for the Korean fried chicken that I like. It's crazy that I couldn't, remember it, and it's such an easy name. It's BB Go. So I got the bulldog noodles. I tried a different pack, or a little like 6-pack I got. It was habanero lime. Gotta say it was pretty good. Also, it gave me an excuse to kind of like add some jalapeno peppers, because why not? They're already kind of in the little flake mix or what have you. So that went down gangbusters. Had that with some egg rolls. And but I noticed as I was going to bed, I was like, oh, it's raining pretty hard. Yeah, no, I'm glad I didn't go out. It would have been super mushy. It would have been super gross. Then I wake up and, I'm getting ready to go to the grocery store. It's early, it's around 8. And, I pop out and I see that it's just snowing sideways. Like, and I'm being a bit dramatic here, but I remember because I was like, hey, I got to go take out the trash before I go to the grocery store. And it felt like I was doing the SpongeBob pizza run, where it's just so much snow. It's like, it's like smacking me in the face. So I was like, all right, I don't know if this drive is going to be super fun. Sure enough, it wasn't the greatest drive. I was slipping and sliding because I don't know if everyone was just if the city was prepared for this kind of weather. I think we had rain and okay, I guess somehow it's going to shift into snow, but I don't think it was expected to shift that quickly. I don't know. But anyway, we make it to the grocery store. I think it kind of works out in my favor that it was snowing because there was like no one there and it was early, it just opened up. So I was like, all right, let's get our groceries. Let's skedaddle back home. And I was thinking that I wasn't going to do the gym today because I'm like, if it's going to snow like this all day, I don't really want to risk it. So, I do a home workout. I check my phone and they're like, okay, the snow should end around 10 and then it might start up again later in the afternoon. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know. Like, if the roads still look gross, I probably shouldn't go out, but or go back out. Then I hopped on the scale and I was like, maybe we'll go to the gym. Maybe we'll make it work. So I wound up going. Gym went well. And here we are. We're back home. We are chilling. I will say I picked up some things from the grocery store I kind of wanted to talk about before we get into the news. I picked up some ripe bananas thinking, because there were just a couple of singles, like some Lucy's. And I was like, okay, this will be perfect. I just want a banana or two, and satiate my desire for a banana. I won't have to wait for these to ripen up. Perfect. I go to peel them and I'm like, this is the hardest peel I've ever had. Like they're just sticking to the banana. And then I notice the banana just doesn't look great. And I'm like, oh, I made a mistake. Luckily it was really cheap. I think they were I don't know. It was 55 cents. It was really cheap for them. So no big deal. Plus I got my banana chips. So we're chilling. I got my banana fix. And then another thing that I bought was some liquid espresso. because I've been wanting to do it at home. I'm spending too much money, and I know it. I'm spending $6-7 for a goddamn cup of coffee, all because I want some caramel, and some espresso in it. Like, this is crazy. I'm being crazy. So I got some, I guess, this Nescafe espresso. It's like a caramel thing. And I think I put in too much of it, and I put it in straight. I didn't mix it like with any water or any milk or anything. And boy, howdy, that I don't feel that much more awake than my usual cup, but I think like what definitely got me awake was I'm like, this doesn't taste quite right, and like I feel like my body doesn't like what I just ingested. But overall, we rallied, we're fine. But that's been my day since we last dropped off from the podcast last episode. So there we go. Let's go ahead and do our startup and get into some news. I will say though, I think just on the coffee thing, one last thing, that probably I just need to use a little bit less, especially if I'm just going to do it straight, and it probably would have been fine. I think I was just a little too greedy, and I paid a little bit of a price. Anyway, let's get to the news. From the BBC. Second DR Congo city, or the Democratic Republic of Congo, or the DRC. City falls into Rwanda-backed rebels. Rwandan-backed M23 rebels have entered Bukavu, the second largest city in the eastern DRC, seizing the regional governor's office. Some people lined the streets to clap and cheer the fighters as they marched and drove into the city center without resistance. It is the second city after Goma to fall to the rebels in the mineral-rich region in the past few weeks. The Congolese government has acknowledged its fall and urged residents to stay at home to avoid being targeted by occupying forces. The UN and European countries have warned that the latest offensive, which has seen hundreds of thousands of people forced from their homes, could spark a wider regional war. Let's see here. And then I'm going to scroll through just mention the UN. The UN World Food Program, or the WFP, said a warehouse with nearly 7,000 tons of food was looted. This is a pretty big development. I know we've been kind of covering this kind of point to point. It seems like the conflict is continuing. It doesn't seem like there's any. At first, half of a second, I thought maybe we might have like a ceasefire to at least slow things down, take a break, but it doesn't look like that. So, I don't have any like death toll or anything like that from this article, but I would have to imagine that number is going to be going up, even though I think in this situation, the actual, I know there's been gunfire and things like that reported, but in terms of the Congolese army, they kind of quickly realized that they were going to be outmanned and outgunned here. So they just hit a retreating position. They just left, leaving more or less the people to, be taken over by this new group, by this M23 group. So obviously that's concerning. We will, definitely be keeping track on this. And if I hear anything out of it, we will be coming back. But yeah, let's hit the next story. Actually, this is it's not an update, but we covered this religious event. I don't know if it's a festival, but in India, and it seems to be more of a fallout here. From The Guardian, at least 18 people die in crowd crush at Delhi railway station. At least 18 people have died in a crush at a railway station in India's capital when surging crowds scramble to catch trains to the world's largest religious gathering, officials have said. So there you go, gathering is better. I know I've heard this before, and it's harder for me to pronounce for some reason. The Kumbh Mela attracts tens of millions of Hindu faithful every 12 years to the northern city of Prayagraj, and has a history of crowd-related disasters, including one last month when at least 30 people died in another crush at a holy confluence of the Ganges, Yunma, and the mystical Saraswati rivers. And that is something that we had covered last month. The rush at the train station in Delhi on Saturday appeared to break out as crowds struggled to board trains for the ongoing event, which will end on the 26th of February. The death toll included 10 women and 3 children, local media said. Let's see here. They did have a piece of history here that took place when the festival happened in 1954. More than 400 people died after they were trampled or drowned on a single day of the festival in 1954, one of the largest death tolls in a crowd-related disaster globally. Another 36 people were crushed to death in 2013, the last time the festival was staged in Prayagraj. So yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I was just so many people, and in such a congregated place. You know, it does make sense that these kind of situations are going to unfold, at least to some amount, some number. You always hope that there's more security, more infrastructure to kind of help keep this from happening. But, you know, here we are. But speaking of disasters, we have another thing. I feel like you can call that a disaster, right? I feel like a crush is anyway. From CNN. At least 9 deaths blamed on powerful storm that toppled trees and flooded roads. So yeah, apparently not just little old Cincinnati got hit with the whole 1-2 punch here in terms of the crazy weather. We got a lot of just this cold front that was moving across the country, and there was a lot of rain. I know for us, like, it became rain into snow, but just flash floods was definitely a big issue. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into some of this coverage here. At least 8 people died as a powerful storm swept through Kentucky, causing flooding that inundated roads and homes. Governor Andy Beshear said Sunday. Another person died in Georgia, an official there said. Emergency responders are now in a search and rescue phase and have performed over 1,000 rescues in under 24 hours, Beshear said. The government described the storm as one of the most serious weather events we've dealt with in at least a decade, which is crazy because Kentucky has had to deal with a lot of weather as of lately, because we covered at least 1 or 2 events. Water levels reached historic highs in Kentucky as the storm gained momentum Saturday. 2 years after catastrophic flooding left 43 people dead and devastated parts of the state. Beshear on Sunday called the impact called the impact to the state massive and cited hundreds of water rescues and multiple fatalities. And I wanted to scroll ahead to some of the other places that got hit. Structures in Tuscumbia, Alabama, including one of the city's middle schools, lost their roofs from strong winds, according to the town's mayor. There's a lot of damage downtown, William Foster told CNN affiliate WAFF, WAFF, Sunday morning. Drones would arrive in the morning to assess the roofs and other damage caused by the storm, he said, while a team from the Red Cross would be also deployed. But there were no calls about major injuries. We're going to go ahead and scroll ahead from there. This is where they talk about flash flooding. This is a fact that I didn't know about until I read it here. Such weather events in regards to flash floods, which is a rare level 4 of 4 on the high risk. Anyway, if I'm reading that right. Such weather events are issued on fewer than 4% of days per year on average, but are responsible for more than 80% of all flood-related damage and 40% of all flood-related deaths, research from the Prediction Center shows. So I was like, oh, damn, that is not so fun of a fact. But let's see. Communities from eastern Arkansas to West Virginia were under a level 3 of 4 risk of flooding rainfall Saturday, the center said. Boo, boo, boo. Saturday afternoon. No, I'm sorry, I'm going kind of fast forwarding there. But yeah, a lot of places were just under this this weather warning. Definitely was really messy, really gross out. I think it's supposed to be going until Monday. At least it's like this, the weather, bad weather. So, if there's any more updates out of that, then we will go ahead and keep you posted there. But I'll take my weatherman outfit off and we will move to some true crime. Let me take a water break. Okay. From CBS News, Kansas City retiree who shot Ralph Yarl, black teen, who mistakenly rang his doorbell, pleads guilty to a lesser charge. An 86-year-old Kansas City man pleaded guilty Friday to a lesser charge in the 2023 shooting of Ralph Yarl, a black honor student who rang his doorbell by mistake. Andrew Lester, who is white, was scheduled to stand trial next week on charges of first-degree assault and armed criminal action in the shooting of the then 16-year-old who survived and has since graduated from high school. As a part of a deal, Lester pleaded guilty to second-degree assault. Lester, who will be sentenced on March 7th, was hunched over as he was wheeled into the courtroom, his hands folded. The charge carries a sentence of up to 7 years in prison, compared to first-degree assault, which carries a sentence of 15 to 30 years. Depending on the circumstances, one of the key elements of second-degree assault is that the defendants have the burden of injecting the issue of influence of sudden passion arising from adequate cause. This is another lawyer who is not involved in the case, but essentially just summarizing like how they may have come to this, middle ground, bit of meeting in the middle of compromise. That's the word I'm looking for here. I think up to 7 years sounds about right for, a guy of his age, and given the situation, more importantly, you're going to take something that's like, hey, this is more or less a slam dunk for us, and, we can more or less say justice is served. I think it also helps, too, that Ralph Yarl is alive. Not to say that he's not traumatized from this shit. He got shot in the head. It didn't penetrate his brain, but, it did shoot him in the head and in the arm. And essentially, Lester just said, never come back here again. And that was that. I if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong in my recollection of this shit, but I'm pretty sure that he wasn't immediately arrested. Like, this was kind of played down until it hit the news, and then everyone really reacted. It's a very common thing in America. But, after the public outcry, pretty much then there was an immediate, like, yeah, okay, we got to arrest this guy, and he's got to go through this whole fucking process, and now here we are. I'm glad that Ralph Yarl is still alive. I know that I felt like that year we had at least one or two more of those stories. I don't know if I missed them or if they're still coming up or not. But yeah, I did feel like there was a racial element to that, to this situation. I know that they were just like, oh, he was just scared, and he's going through like a lot of like, he's older, so he's got some like his mental faculties. Blah. Why does he have a gun? You know what I'm saying? Like, didn't take that shit from him. At the end of the day, Ralph Yarl's only mistake, the only thing he did wrong, was he was going to pick up his twin siblings, and he got the wrong house. And so, door opens up. He goes to the screen door to say, okay, I'm coming to pick up my family, and he gets his shit rocked. He just gets shot and left for dead. Like, that's not okay. I don't care how old fucking Lester is, dude. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't have any compassion in that regard. Like, you have to have the responsibility here if you're going to be a fucking gun owner, and we're not going to do anything as a fucking society about it. Then it's like someone has to have the onus and responsibility to say, hey, I shouldn't have this gun. If I'm going to get woken up and then immediately just go blam, 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 blam. You can't do that. So someone's got to step up and do the right thing here. Otherwise this shit happens, so it's very upsetting, but I knew I wasn't gonna miss this story here. I know we'll be coming back and getting the sentencing, but I mean, I imagine if it's gonna be obviously somewhere around 7 years, maybe less. I imagine he's going to even get out with good behavior and the fact of his age and all that shit, whatever. But it just is what it is, I guess. You know what I mean? I truly, truly hope that shit like this doesn't happen. You know, I want to see less of these stories. It's not about like, oh, I want to see retribution. I know it's not that, because this doesn't undo any of the damage. Sending this 80 or 86-year-old guy to jail. You know what I mean? So, anyway, let's go ahead and close out. This is a bit of a palate cleanser. We're talking Panda. But let me go ahead and do my last break and we'll close it out. From the Associated Press. Sorry about that. Excuse me. Hong Kong residents compete to name twin panda cubs who just turned 6 months old. Panda craze has once again gripped Hong Kong as residents compete to name the territory's first locally born giant panda cubs, who just turned 6 months old. The competition to name the twin cubs, born August 15th, launched Saturday following a celebratory ceremony attended by Hong Kong leader John Lee and other officials at Ocean Park, the theme park that houses the twins, their parents, and 2 other giant pandas that arrived from mainland China last year. Residents can submit their suggestions via the park's website. Let's see here. I believe, yes, their names are Elder Sister and Little Brother. I believe Little Brother has 2 purple food dye spots on him that I guess they keep put on him or whatever, so that you can tell them apart, because, they're little twins. But yeah, you can kind of see that respectively in the thumbnail there. They are so cute. I'm not gonna lie, this panda power shit, it works. It is a good use of soft power. And I gotta say, I think that this is another thing I've heard people mention, and I think I definitely agree with the hardening of American diplomacy with, the powers that be, right now, currently. You see the withering of, America and the soft power that they want to, exert with the USAID shit. Just with, hey, yeah, you might be our allies, but yeah, you also might get hit with a tariff. We don't give a shit. All kinds of just changing in that regard. I feel like you see China just trucking on along. They are not stopping. They are unbothered. They are undeterred. They're going to keep doing the same things that have got them to this point, because why would they stop? It just makes sense. Yes, so what, America doesn't like them? So what, America's going to paint them in a bad light, and their allies are going to do the same thing? Who gives a shit? You all buy from them. Like, it doesn't matter. So they're going to keep on trucking. Don't you want our pandas? And yes, we want your pandas. So anyway, I thought this was a really cute story. Also, they're only available for 5 hours of the day, but then they seclude them. That's the word I'm looking for. And for 1,500 Hong Kong dollars, or about 190 USD, you can get like a private, I imagine, like sitting, or maybe like a smaller party situation. And that reminded me of a time that I went to the aquarium with my ex's family, and my ex was really into penguins. So they got to take her to like this whole experience where you got to just like meet the actual penguins. So I would hope that it's something like that, because that always sounded cool. I didn't get to see it, but I was just happy that everyone was happy. It was a good day. So yeah, I don't know. I just thought this was a really cute story. It was nice to kind of close out Sunday with something not so bleak and dismal, despite all the other stories we've covered today. So yeah, this is definitely something that's a boon for China, or you can say it's a boon for Hong Kong specifically, whatever, if you want to get specific. But yeah, who cares? I just wanted to talk about pandas for a little bit. But yeah, that'll be the story. Oh no, I guess it is one thing I guess I wanted to cover here. Let's see. But caring for pandas in captivity, I can say words. But caring for pandas in captivity is expensive. Ocean Park recorded a deficit of 71.6 million Hong Kong dollars, or 9.2 million USD, last financial year, and in 2020 required a government relief fund to stay afloat. Observers are watching if taking care of six pandas will add to its burden or give it a chance to revive its business. So, I don't know. This is the first time I've kind of heard contrary to the whole like, panda power. Is it worth it? And I know that they are a very high maintenance animal. I know, just in terms of even like the procreation is very difficult. Pandas, they're just they're very unique. They're very cute, and they do their own thing in their own way in their own time. But that being said, if it's not worth it, we are still in this capitalist bullshit society. So at the end of the day, if this isn't worth it, then maybe you have to sell these pandas off, because you can't, lose a whole zoo just to keep a few pandas. That's no good, right? So I don't know. That being said, who cares? Oh, panda. That'll be it for me. I think that's going to be all. No shilling. There's no need. It's Sunday. I try not to do that. So thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.